Alright, cool beans, I'm Hex. So we're finally going to be going over my spear daggers builds, mainly for PvE. In this video, I do have PvP a little bit in this segment, but honestly, I feel like I'm going to have to just share a PvP build in its own video because this video did take quite a long to record, and I'm going to try to cut it up as small as I can while also trying to share as much information as I can because there is a lot to learn about spear. I'm going to be going through the in-depths and like teach you everything I learned about spear. So we are going to have two PvE builds. Mainly we'll be focusing on the single target boss one, mainly going over the main important skills you should be going over, the passes, as well as an AoE build that absolutely just shreds through targets. Absolutely, like, there's nothing left. Like, you stack this build up easily, you just delete groups of ads, as well as giving a small taste of the PvP, what I built and how I built around it. If at any moment, if you guys can hit the like, subscribe button, really goes a long way. Greatly do appreciate it. Also, comment down anything I might have missed out, what video I should do next as well. But without further ado, let's spear our way into the build. Alright, so let's go over our skills. So first skill we're going over is Cleaving Moonlight. This is basically just our spammable for daggers. You do move a little forward, so be careful. So you see my target. It's going to move forward a little bit. So if you are wondering what the specializations exactly do, we'll go over that in a little bit. Basically, what we do have is consecutive use, effect accumulation, and attack speed. So anytime we hit this with our specialization, we put thundercloud stacks on them, reducing the endurance so we can crit more often. So basically, this is also really good for our Leg Carrier's daggers. Anytime we hit this, boom, we proc our Leg Carrier's daggers. Right before it expires, we hit it again, full Leg Carrier's daggers. But if you keep up, you can keep up thundercloud's 100% uptime as well as that. Not only that, it's also really nice to weave in skills in between. So like if I hit it once, I might use a few skills here and there, and then use it again. Next skill we're going over is Rising Slash. Rising Slash has two parts to it. So when you initially cast it, you dash towards the target. Boom. Hit him 3 times. Not only that, then you have a small window to dash again towards the target. And then you deal damage depending on the stacks of burst or ignite they have. Burst, I guess we'll go over what burst is. So burst lasts for 9 seconds. Each stack of burst decreases all CC resistance of the enemy by 20. Stacks it to 5 times and does not refresh after 5 stacks. The weakened burst effect is the same for all skills. Now let's go over Ignite. So Ignite lasts for 9 seconds and each attack deals 3.4% of base damage plus 15 flat damage. Stacks up to 10 times, explodes at 10 stacks, and deals 460 of base damage plus 266 flat to enemies within a 3 meter radius. The weakened Ignite effect is the same for all skills. You kind of get it from skills. So on this one that I had here, so for this one where we get our burst stacks is from Calling Arc. So anytime we hit this ability, we do extra burst. We put burst stacks on them, and I believe we have a specialization, critical burst. Yeah, adds 1 burst when the Calling Arc lands as a critical hit. So when we cast this skill, we actually do 2 ticks of damage. Boom, boom. We just procced it because we have this, and we can hit it again. Oops, missed the cooldown. But you can see the burst stacks here. So if we hit it again here, full burst stacks. As well, we get to use the ability again in an AoE. Anytime that crits, we put an additional burst stack. So initially, if we don't crit, we get 3 burst stacks. More than likely, with our build, we're going to at least crit 2 of these. Rising Slash. So basically, on the last hit, when we do Rising Slash, use an additional time, the last hit explodes, dealing 20% more damage per burst or ignite on the target. So one or the other. So if we have 5, we do an extra 100% bonus damage. So the thing is, this will consume your burst stack. So like, let's say here. So if we go here, Calling Arc, basically, it's very simple too. So right before our rotation kind of ends, we'll go over the rotation a little bit. So basically, when we hit this, see full burst stack. So if we hit this, doesn't use it. If we use it again, it does use our burst stack. Now, burst stacks, 5 of them are actually important for our next skill, which is Brutal Fury. Brutal Fury is absolutely a crack skill. It's absolutely insanity. So if we go here to Brutal Fury, this is a specialization of Vicious Fury. So for this one, we do have conditional hit as well as burst damage. So at full stacks, we're going to do bonus damage. So normally, if you just cast the skill right here, if I just cast it, just vanilla, no, pre-buffing, no nothing. Use it, hit 5 times, and that's it. It's gone. I didn't do anything else. Just hit 5 times. Now there is a way to use this up to 3 times. So if they have full 5 burst stacks, so right here, Calling Arc. So if we hit this, hit it again. We didn't get full burst stacks, unfortunately, but we can get a burst stack from Gale Rush, which we'll go and talk in a little bit. Right here, full 5 burst stacks. So if we hit this ability now, we get to use it again, and use it again. So that's why burst stack is very nice, because if we use this, right, let's say we have full burst stacks right here, and we use our Gale Rush, and then we use a second hit of Gale Rush, Brutal Fury will only proc once. Now there is another way to keep Brutal Fury triple proc, but we'll go over that in a little bit. So that's why it's important. You can use the first one, and then you still use Brutal Fury. So a popular combo that I like to do is this, watch. So I'll just hit this, Calling Arc, then use Gale Rush into Cleaving Moonlight, into Rising Slash, into Triple Brutal Fury, into Rising Slash. So only the second hit of Rising Slash. You don't even have to use the second slash. If you don't feel comfortable, don't use the second hit. So next skill is Umbral Spirit. This is the dagger skill. So basically when we use the skill, we get up to 6 seconds. Anytime we do melee critical hit damage, we do extra bonus damage. And this is great when you have multi-hit abilities. So for Brutal Fury, if we crit all 5 of these, we're doing an extra 5, extra ticks of damage. So Umbral Spirit is very nice for those multi-hitting abilities like Cleaving Moonlight, Brutal Fury, Phoenix Barrage that hits 10 times. This isn't really too great on a guillotine. Like if I guillotine you right here, I'm only going to get 1 proc of Umbral Spirit. But if I hit you with Phoenix Barrage that hits 10 times, I can proc this 10 times on you and do crazy amounts of damage. So basically you passed it, boom, and then every time you do some damage, some critical damage, you see those little guys running around like ninjas. They're the ones doing the extra damage on them. Does last a little time, but honestly this is very nice. Only use this skill when other abilities are up. Sometimes in your rotation, this ability will come up before other ones. But let's say this ability comes up and your Brutal Fury is on a 10-second cooldown and your Phoenix Barrage is on a 5-second cooldown. Just wait a bit, give it some time. Right before the 1 second, 2 seconds before Phoenix Barrage comes up, hit a Cleaving Moonlight into a Umbral Spirit into a Phoenix Barrage. Next skill is Unyielding Sentinel. Unyielding Sentinel is, well, I'm still kind of like trying to find a home for it, to be honest. I might just entirely get rid of it, to be honest. This can be your flex spot. You can run whatever. I do run Unyielding Sentinel because not only does it give me 60 resist, which doesn't really matter. After 3 seconds, I get increased magic, melee, ranged, and heavy attack chance for 118. Now, I did have the specialization of Sentinel's Bastion, but I just don't remember where all my points went, to be honest. Don't want that skill. You could put Vampiric Strike for an extra heal. You could also put Bloodleech Aura for another heal. You could put Fatal Stigma there. You could put Shadow Strike. I don't recommend Brutal Incision because Brutal Incision will eat your Thundercloud stacks from our Cleaving Moonlight. And we want to keep our Cleaving Moonlight stacks, our Endurance stacks, on the target because we want to shred them. So normally we cast a skill, we get some CC resist. But after 3 seconds, you can see right here, boom, we get 6 seconds of melee, heavy, and ranged heavy attack. Or I guess 3 seconds. It gave me 3 seconds. Also, this works against allies too. So like if this guy was in my group, I can pop the skill and he'll also get the buff as well. Next skill is Phoenix Barrage. Phoenix Barrage is the specialization of Cyclonic Fury. Phoenix Barrage is absolutely cracked skill. Like this thing is absolutely cracked. So we just go up here and we hit this ability. We do damage in a cone right here. And anyone in the front of the cone takes the most amounts of damage, as you can see right here. This target took more damage than the one in the back here, and it just takes the damage. And anytime this crits, we can do extra ignite damage. Basically put like a dot on them. So basically this skill hits 10 times in a stack. So basically it's going to hit like 10 times, probably like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So basically this target's going to take the full brunt because it's in the front of the cone. The targets in the back typically won't take that many hits because it's all spread out across. So typically you want to be right on top of your target. Not only do you do an insane amounts of damage, you also put a dot. Also, we do have some specialization that increases damage for them being oppressed or stunned. Also, just increases critical damage by 15% for 3 seconds. Just an absolutely great skill. Next skill is Inject Venom. I absolutely love Inject Venom. If you do want to run Lightning Infusion, you are more than welcome. If you do run Lightning Infusion, I will take off Thunderclouds from here and put it here. The reason I do that is because I can keep up 100% uptime on Thunderclouds with this. So I would rather have the dot. I just love dots. I don't know, something about them. I just absolutely love them. So basically you cast a skill. Anytime you do takes a damage, you put a dot on them and it stacks up more and more. And you take a damage. So like right here, if I cleave in Moonlight, full stacks right there. Boom. So very nice. Like you can see the dot damage like right there. Look at that. Almost 600 dot damage every second. Like next skill is Gale Rush. This Gale Rush is honestly, in my opinion, the strongest skill in the game. Hands down, one of the most broken skills in the game. Like this, it's on a 15-second cooldown. It might not seem like a guillotine. Obviously, it's not like, oh my god, no, what do you mean guillotine is the most broken skill in the game? That fireball, it does too much damage. This is one of the strongest utility skills in the game. So basically, when you cast a skill, you dash towards the target. You do some damage, you also apply a burst stack on them, which is very nice. If you hit a target that's, one CC'd or weakened from one of your statuses, you can use the skill up to 2 seconds 3 times. So if I hit, let's say right here, I have this dude dotted up, right? I can dash on him and then dash on another target and then dash on another target if this one was weakened. So every time you dash, you get a buff. So basically right here, attack speed increases by 14% for 3 seconds every time you dash, and stacks up to 3 times. So if I dot this guy up, dot this guy up, dot this guy up, they're all dotted up, I can dash, dash, and dash, and look how much attack speed I have now. I had 3 stacks, so this can give me up to 42% extra attack speed for almost 4.5 seconds. So like, you can get this over 5 seconds with duration. Look at that, 6 seconds on it, because we do have a specialization that increases the initial one by 1.5 seconds plus buff duration. You can easily push over 6 seconds with this. So you get 3 stacks. On top of that, we have one of the most broken specializations, Initiative Blitz. When you use the first scale rush on a boss, immediately gain the maximum stacks. So basically, if I dash on a boss, I get immediately off the rip 42% extra attack speed for over 6 seconds off the rip. Now there is more flavor to the skill, because if that wasn't enough, you can use Gale Rush on a party member to go to them. So I can use that, like if this guy was on my group and I casted it, I would run to him and also deal damage to all enemies around him. So if I dashed on him, I would run around here and I could do damage around him. Not only that, I would also stun the targets around him as well. If using a power member, attack speed, increase effect, additional effect will not apply. So basically, you only get the attack speed if you dash on a target, like on an enemy target. So our next skill we're going to be running is Javelin Surge. Javelin Surge is basically a charge time. So the more you charge it, the farther it goes. You can see that line building up. You throw it, and boom. Now it did pierce the targets because I am running the Shakal Spear here. So if I swap this to the Heroic Staff or Spear here, this will not penetrate anymore. So if we read the Shakal Spear, damage dealt by Javelin Surges, which is a skill we use, increases by 15%, and projectiles pierces enemies. Cooldown reset does not apply. So if we do this, it's right here. We're going to try to hit through the front, and it only hits the person in the front now. So you might be asking right now, quick question, should I run the Shakal Spear or should I run the Heroic? Honestly, in my opinion, the Heroic is better. I just got the Shakal Spear, kind of got baited into it. But I do run a lot of arenas. If you are planning on playing arenas, which I don't know why you would, but if you do plan on playing arenas, the Shakal Spear is really nice. If you plan on doing GVGs and big scale fights, the Heroic Spear is all you need. So basically what this skill does is the longer you charge it up, so if I do quick shot it, like right here, so if I charge it up a little bit, I throw it, look how far, it only went this far. It would have never hit this target here. So not only that, you also brand a target with a 90% chance, which also increases our skill damage boost by up to like 90% at max level, I believe. So basically right here, so if I charge it up here, so what I like to do is, if you're alright on the target here, I can quick cast it here, hit the target, get my brand, and also just do more damage. Next skill we're going to be running is Abyssal Cleave. Abyssal Cleave is mainly there for the CC. Now, it is nice to CC mobs. Now you might be saying, what if a final boss I can't CC? Well, the thing is, you are putting shock to the target for 6.5 seconds. It might actually go up higher level. Yeah, shock 7.5 seconds at max level. So if you shock a target, you also increase your damage of certain skills. So if we go here, if we go to Phoenix Barrage, conditional damage. Phoenix Barrage will do 20% extra damage against shocked enemies, also stunned or whatever. If we go to Brutal Fury, we do have a specialization called Conditional Hit. If the enemy is bound, collision, feared, oppressed, shocked, slept, or stunned, we can use Brutal Fury with no arc stack. So right here, let's say right here. So if I hit this ability once, nothing goes off, right? But now if I had the target stunned, unfortunately these targets get stunned, they don't get shocked, I will be able to spam that skill. I'm just going to use my Gale Rush to just get a little bit more attack speed so it can look a little more cleaner. So if I do this, into the stun, Brutal Furies, as you can see, I'm able to use all my Brutal Furies without having to build my calling arc stacks. Not only that, Shocked also will apply it to the enemy, so if I shock the target and my buddy is using the spear as well, he can benefit from my Shocked. And last skill is your Flex Bot. I do have knife throwing because it will proc our Umbral Spirit 5 times. It's very easy to throw out, pretty low cooldown. You throw out some daggers, the closer they are to you, the more you'll hit. So if I shot that from here, I would hit him with all 5 daggers. You can put almost anything you want there, to be honest. You put Fatal Stigma, Vampiric Strike, Shadow Strike, I think people run. I'm not too sure about that one, though. Blood Leech Art, whatever you want there. And lastly, before I forget, our defensive skill, we are running the Block Blade. I think it's great because if you block, you get some mana back, and if you perfect roll, you get to, turn invisible and trick the enemy around. Oop, didn't do it. All right, so let's go over the passives now. For the first passive, we are running Imposing Form. Imposing Form, 10% chance to increase our skill damage boost by up to 130 anytime we do damage for 3 seconds. Anytime we do damage with a spear, greatsword, staff, or longbow. In our case, we will only proc with our steer abilities, but think about it. You have a 10% chance on skill damage. Anytime you do take a damage with a spear, so Brutal Fury hits 5 times. You have 5 shots of proccing this with 1 Brutal Fury, and that's before we triple proc it. If we hit a Phoenix Barrage, we have 10 shots at it. Next passive is Fatal Precision. Fatal Precision increases attack speed by up to 2.9% for 3 seconds each time you apply Weaken. So, I mean, just applying our Weaken Poison right here, this will proc it right here. As you can see here, look at that. We're getting an extra, like, is it 14.5% extra attack speed just from this? Very no-brainer, no-brainer. Not on top of that, you can proc it from Phoenix Barrage, Calling Arc, Gale Rush, but mostly Inject Venom will keep it up 100% uptime for you, no problem. Next passive we're going to be going over is Mortal Wrath. Mortal Wrath is absolutely one of the most broken passives in the game. On landing a critical hit on a target with 30% health or lower, deals additional damage equal to up to 85% base damage as well as 36 flat damage. This skill can be activated up to 3 times per skill. What does that mean? Brutal Fury. If we hit someone below 30% health or 30% health and we crit 5 times, 3 of those will proc this 3 times. So we can proc this 3 times from a Brutal Fury. That's absolute crazy amounts of damage. So Brutal Fury will do an extra like 200 in like, is it 255 extra damage? And that's just from 1 Brutal Fury proc. You proc this 3 times, you're doing an extra 750 extra damage on top of that. Like, on top of doing a crit, on top of just doing bonus, like, extra ticks of damage, also benefit from bonus. Like, it's just absolute insanity. Next passive we're going to be going over is Retaliatory Strike. This is a passive I slept on when I first started Spear. Dealing damage 3 times with an active skill increases the critical chance of the next active skill. So basically, you're going to build up to 3 stacks. So basically, anything that does, so like if I Cleaving Moonlight here, I build 1 Retaliatory Strike. I do another one, another Retaliatory Strike. So if I do another one, I now get 730 on my next hit. So if I Phoenix Barrage here, you can see that I crit 8 times. I got 8 crits out of the 10 right there. So that's a very nice passive. It is a little hard to keep track of and a little weird, but honestly, very nice. You can catch, like, keep your eyes on that. You can do some crazy amounts of damage. Next passive we're going to be going over is the Daggers one. For the Daggers, we do have Assassin's Instinct. Increases critical chance by 290. I mean, kind of just simple, no-brainer, easy. Synergies very well since we are trying to crit very much on these. Next one is Murderous Energy. Increases poison and thundercloud's duration as well as the poison damage over time. Increases damage over time more at the night. Honestly, I felt like this was just very nice. Increases the duration of our dots as well as the damage. I mean, I didn't really see any other one. For mob grinding, I do put Assassin's Step. But for single target boss grinding, like, I do Murderous Energy. If you have any idea that it might be better than this, please let me know. But I think this is the best one so far. Next passive is Destructive Fang. On attacking targets affected by the user's poison or thundercloud, there's an 80% chance to reduce the target's magic, melee, and ranged defense by up to 150 for 3 seconds. Just extra armor shred, good for you and the group. And lastly, Wrathful Edge. Increases critical damage by 18%. Simple, no-brainer. Another Shadow Harvester on our passive. Skill specialization before I forget, here they are. Colon Arc, we are going Critical Burst. Critical Burst just adds extra burst, so that way we can have 5 burst stacks. That way Brutal Fury can hit more often. Brutal Fury, obviously we are swapping Vicious Fury into Brutal Fury to do the 5 stacks. Conditional hit, so we can, if they're stunned or oppressed, we can use this without having these burst stacks. As well as burst damage. Damage increased by 15% on a target with 5 burst stacks. Just extra pressure. And Gale Rush, Initiative Blitz with Blitz extension. Everything else is kind of self-explanatory, to be honest. Oh, let me remember Cleaving Moonlight. Cleaving Moonlight, we do want to use consecutive use. Can be used one more time if used within 3 seconds. You want to extend this as long as possible. So Cleaving Moonlight, use 2 or 3 abilities, then Cleaving Moonlight again. Thunderclouds is how we're going to get our Thunderclouds, like the reduction on the target. That way we can run Inject Venom. And attack speed. Attack speed is increased by 15% while consecutive use is active. So whenever we use this and we have that 3-second window, we get an extra 15% attack speed to fit in an extra ability. And everything else is pretty much self-explanatory as well. And for the masteries, we are going to go all the way to Maddening Excitement. and then Shrewd Judgment, as well as 1 range defense. And for Spirit, we are going to be going all the way to Will of Annihilation and Ultimate Power. Alright, so let's go into the rotation. So the rotation is going to be a little micro intensive, I won't lie to you. So you're going to start off with an Immune Sentinel, then you're going to use Inject Venom. Then we're going to start off with a Javelin Surge. Fully charge it, throw it, that's when the fight starts. Once the fight fully starts, we're going to do into a Gale Rush, into a Cleaving Moonlight, into Umbral Spirit, into Double Culling Arc, into Cleaving Moonlight, into Phoenix Barrage, into Brutal Fury, Brutal Fury, Brutal Fury, 3 Brutal Furies, into a Cleaving Moonlight, and then you're just going to be using your abilities as they come up. For the most part, you're going to be wanting to use your Umbral Spirit when your other abilities are up. So there will be some downtime. Let's say Umbral Spirit comes up, Brutal, Phoenix Barrage is down for like 10 seconds. Your Brutal Fury is down for 5 seconds. Just wait that out. Just wait. Like, hey, Umbral Spirit is up. Do not use Umbral Spirit unless these 2 heavy hitters are off cooldown, okay? If these 2 bad boys are on a hefty cooldown, but let's say this thing's up in 3 seconds, this thing's up in 5, pop that bad boy. Pop that bad boy. Get your other buffs in, hit your Cleaving Moonlight, and then just start going to town. So basically, we're just trying to keep up Cleaving Moonlight as best as we can. So let's see it in action. So we're going to throw the Charger Javelin into a Gale Rush. Fully charge this. EA stun. Almost had it, to be honest. I wasn't even focusing. Probably could have killed it there. Alright, let me actually focus on killing this thing. Here we go. 47 seconds. That's not bad. Honestly, I could probably push this up even more. Especially if I had like a full actual PvE build. If I have Swirling Essence Robe. There's a lot of, and I also do have a Shakal. I can definitely push this up. But that was actually pretty good. 47 seconds on my second try. The first try I wasn't even trying to actually survive. But I hope that kind of did help out a little bit. Obviously, you're going to have to get used to it. I'm kind of looking at my bars, also looking at the rotation. That's just, we'll realize that you only have a second to cast Brutal Fury again. This skill, unfortunately, you have to spam it again. You can't, like, Brutal Fury, use other abilities, back to Brutal... No, you have to fully commit to the Brutal Fury, unfortunately. It's not like Cleaving Moonlight, where you Cleaving Moonlight, use a few other abilities, and go back to it. So if you do get CC'd in your Brutal Fury, it kind of goes, kind of goes to waste. So now let's go over our gear. So for our gear, basically, we are kind of speccing also to a PvP build as well. Just saying this is how I ran my PvE build. Then that you could run a PvP build and do some absolute work. So we are running, I guess, technically 3-piece Field General. My full min-max build, once I get my traits, I am going to run the Shadow Harvest, or the Phantom Wolf Tunic, so I can increase my magic evasion even more. But for now, we are keeping, just the problem is, look at the chest piece. It looks so ugly. Now the plate of the Field General. Now that thing is beautiful. So for at minimum, you do want the Helm of the Field General, and you do want the Gauntlets. These are two powerful set, like the 2-piece Field General, melee heavy attack chance increased by 150. After DRs, this is like a 10% chance at an extra heavy attack. For the helmet, we are going max health, ranged evasion. If you want to go ranged endurance, you definitely can instead of cooldown speed, but I am building to cooldown speed. There is no wrong answer for that last trait. It's not going to make or break you. And we are running the Gauntlets of the Field Journal. Gauntlets of the Field Journal is one of the most powerful pair of hands in the game. Almost 5% attack speed, 6 perception, really nice on the stats there. Plus, you can put max health as well as attack speed on the traits. And the chest piece, we are running ranged evasion, max health, and ranged endurance. For my Phantom Wolf tunic, I will be running magic evasion, ranged evasion, as well as max health. Once I get over the fact of how ugly it's gonna look. But just saying that the plate of the Field Journal is perfectly fine on this build. For the other two pieces, we are running the Shadow Harvester legs, and we are running the Shadow Harvester feet. On the legs, we do have magic evasion, ranged evasion, as well as ranged endurance. Unfortunately, cannot put max health on these. And for the feet, we do movement speed, ranged evasion, magic evasion. So for the legs, honestly, just strong pair of legs. 5 perception, 67 hit chance, beautiful, as well as the mana regen. Because on this mana regen, we do need mana regen for the PvE build. Can also be very nice for PvP. And for the feet, I mean, just 8 stat points on a freaking Shadow Harvester boots, 3 strength, and 5 perception. And for our cloak, before I forget, we are running the Ancient Tapestry Mantle, 170 ranged evasion, and 164 magic evasion. Just a very nice evasion cloak. Not too much to be said. It does come with weaker resist, but not really ever going to be actually helpful. And for our jewelry, we are running the Icy Necklace of Strength. Now on this one, you can either use the Clash of the Conqueror, or you could run the Icy Necklace of Strength. If you are planning on playing strictly arenas or more arenas, Icy Necklace is my go-to. But if you are planning on PvEing as well as open worlding, I think I'm going to be swapping to the class. I'll check out both. But either one is perfectly fine. As you can see here, I have 1,008 and 11. But if I put my class back, if I put my Icy Necklace, I go up to almost 1,100. So for this trait, we are going to be going max health, skill damage boost, and we are going to go buff duration. I just don't know why I haven't bought it. I honestly forgot that I need to get buff duration on this. For the bracelets, we are going the Bracelets of Primal King. Bracelets of Primal King, one of the most powerful bracelets in the game. It's a very offensive, 6 perception, very nice stat stick, as well as 13 bonus damage. Very nice for builds that do just insane amounts of damage. Like a Guillotine with this will only do 13 damage, but our Phoenix Barrage that does damage 10 times can proc this like 10 times, so that's an extra 130 on a Phoenix Barrage. Extra like, what is it, like 65 extra damage on our Brutal Fury times 3. So for the traits, obviously max health, skill damage resist, and debuff duration. For our rings, we are running the Esh Alabaster Band. I am waiting to get my Band of Universal Power ring. We are going to be running buff duration, max health, skill damage boost. Very nice solid ring. Gives attack speed, strength, as well as the runes. So I had to unfortunately say goodbye to my Violent Signet, because much as I love my Violent Signet, I need these runes, man. And for the other ring, we are running the Amber Dimensional Band. You could run either one, the Amber or the Sapphire. I went the Amber because it's going to give me strength. It's going to give me my break points for strength as well as dexterity, because I am trying to go for 40 dex to get that extra bonus damage. The same thing, the bonus damage from the Primal King. Very nice for Spear, because you do have multi-hits, like so many multi-hits on this. And lastly, for our belt, we are running the Forbidden Eternal Chain. Perception 3 and max health 680. Now, you can swap these out for the Belt of the Bloodlust, definitely. So if we go here to the Belt of the Bloodlust. So the Forbidden Eternal Chain does get an extra 150 magic defense. You can see the Belt of Bloodlust only 270. Eternal Chain 420. Belt of Bloodlust does give you an extra 5 movement speed as well as 1 strength. Or 4 strength, I should say. Which is 1 more, attribute point compared to the other one. The Forbidden Chain does give you perception, and it does give you slightly more max health. So the benefit of the Forbidden Chain is you get more magic defense and you get slightly more max health. Belt of Bloodlust, you get movement speed and you get 1 more point of attributes, but a little bit less max health. Now you might be saying which one is better. The Forbidden Eternal Chain is definitely a lot cheaper and easier to get. So if I wanted to get a Belt of Bloodlust right now, it's almost 1,400 for the lithograph. The traits are over 1,000 for the good ones. But if I go to the Forbidden one, the lithograph for it is only 355, and look at that, the maximum like almost 400. You can buy all 3 good traits for less than it will cost you for 1 trait for the Bloodlust, depending on your server, obviously. And for the weapons, almost forgot about the weapons. For the weapons, we are running the Shakal's Mind Wheel of Harpoon. This is the one we get from the Cursed Wasteland. Very solid, 9 strength, very juicy, 194 hit chance. This is beautiful. That hit chance is very nice. mainly for arenas. If you are playing the melee melee spear build, then arenas your go-to. If you don't plan on playing arenas very much, or you plan on main GVGs, or you main on playing strictly PvE, the heroic resistance is absolutely goated. This thing gives you 11 dexterity, so that's 2 extra stat points, as well as 20% extra range. Hit chance in PvE makes no difference. In PvP, you don't really want hit chance on a melee build, because not many people be building melee evasion out there in the world, and in GVGs. And if they do build melee evasion, well, they're getting absolutely deleted by flash waves, so they gotta choose one or the other. And for our daggers, obviously we are running the Licarius Wicked Thorns. Just honestly a mini arc boss weapon. That's the easiest way to say it. 15 attribute points. Like, look at that stat stake. 8 wisdom, 7 perception, and 129 critical hit chance, as well as base damage increased by 25 for 3 seconds upon using dagger mobility skills. So obviously, if you don't have your Licarius daggers, an alternative would be the Dark Slayer daggers. Those are also a really nice pair of daggers as well. Would give you 11 strength as well as some max health. The max health would be beneficial more for a greatsword build, but unfortunately we aren't a greatsword build on this build. But obviously really easy to get a hold of. I mean, how much is the lithograph? 200. But honestly, just work towards getting your Licarius daggers. In my opinion, the best pair of daggers in the game. So now let's go over our rune synergy. So for this, we're only going for the synergies. So for runes, I don't care what the little runes themselves do. I'm going for the synergy. So if I go here, what is a rune synergy? So in this game, is if you put these colors in a specific order, you get a bonus. So if I put an attack rune, which is this red rune, and then a support rune, which is this yellow rune or orangey, and then this blue rune, which is the defense rune, in this order, I then get 2% extra attack speed as well as 2 dex. Now the thing is, this rune right here in the back is a green quality. This is a green quality. You can see the background is green. Right here, the quality is blue and blue. Now if I go to my daggers, as you can see the quality in the back, it's all blue. So now my synergy goes from green to blue. So I get an extra 1 dex and an extra 1% attack speed. So that's what we're going for. We're only going for the synergies. So just put them in this order. Attack, support, and defense. It doesn't matter what they do. This gives me health regen. And then you might be saying, well, let's see if I can find a good one. Right here, like, oh, I really want this ranged heavy attack evasion. This would be perfect for my build. Well, you'd be like, health regen is terrible for my build. Well, if I put this on here, you can see white quality. If I put that on there, my dexterity goes down to 2 and I lose my attack speed. So we're going strictly for the synergies. So for the synergy for this one, we are going attack rune, support rune, defense rune. This will give us 3 dexterity plus 3 attack speed. Obviously, it doesn't matter. Try to build it up to blue as you can. For the belt, we're going attack, defense, support. Going for the damage reduction as well as critical hit damage reduction. For the necklace, we're going attack, defense, support rune, extra health, and dexterity. For the bracers, we're going attack, support, and defense rune. That gives us bonus damage as well as max health. And for the rings, they're going to be the same. Or, I guess they can be whatever. So on one ring, I do have a support, attack, and defense. This gives me cooldown as well as strength. And then on the other ring, I do have cooldown speed as well as perception. It's a support, defense, and attack rune. Obviously, you can change your build how you want. If you want more perception, then you would change the order here. So now let's quickly go over the AoE build, because the AoE build deserves its own recognition, because this thing absolutely shreds. So the main thing is we're going to be having a few skills. So all that matters is that we do have a few skills here. You can change this however you want. I kind of did change it for PvP. Hold up, let me change it around a little bit. So for PvE mob grinding, this is my go-to, basically. So basically, anytime you hit this explosive fury, you get stacks. You get ember stacks. Ember stacks is what makes our Javelin Inferno go absolutely crazy. So normally, Javelin Inferno, I'm hitting my 0, nothing goes off. Okay? You need ember stacks. The only way to get ember stacks is every time you use explosive fury, you get an ember stack. So you can use this up to 5 times, and 5 ember stacks is the maximum. So if I hit this once, I only build up 1 ember stack right here. So that lets me shoot out 1 Inferno Javelin, or Javelin Inferno. So if I throw it, it ricochets. Boom. So now I can't use it until I get more. So this thing can hit up to 5 times. So you can get up to 5 stacks of an ember. So right here, 5 times. Now I have 5 stacks of Ember. Now what I can do is I can just throw this repeatedly, and it keeps ricocheting off the targets. Now you might be saying, well, that doesn't seem like much. Well, this is where it gets crazy. This is where it gets crazy. So let's hit it here. If we use Thunder Spirit, the specialization of Umbral Spirit, we proc that, we hit this. Yeah. Put a Phoenix Barrage in there. Use it again. Just does absolute... Just look at the damage. Just look at those numbers. Oh yeah. Heaven forbid you put a Cleaving Moonlight on top of that. Well, let's see it again. And that's pretty much all it is. That's pretty much the whole rotation. If you need a heal, you get proc your Blood Leech Aura. This will heal you for enemies around you. So you can see that. Just keeps healing me. We also do have a Vampiric Strike. Everything else is pretty much the same. Nothing really to be said. We already went over these skills. We did change the Calling Arc into Flaming Arc just because. I don't really know. Just because. Pretty much. So when you're mob grinding, that's pretty much it. You just stack these up. You hit your Thunder Spirit, Lightning Infusion, hit a Phoenix Barrage, and then just start yeeting the spears. And that's pretty much it. Let's go over the passives. So the passives are pretty much going to be the same. The only thing we are swapping out. Oops, I had my PvP passive on there. Let me see what I took off. So the only thing we are putting on is Assassin Step. So this is my PvE build. Now I would normally go over, but this is painfully because the AoE build is very, very simple. Like, it is very, like, honestly, if I wanted to be self-explanatory, just use your Flaming or Exploding Fury. For those that don't know what Exploding Fury is, this is the specialization from Vicious Fury. We are just running Explosive Fury. And then all you do is you proc your Thunder and Spirit into Lightning Infusion, and you just start letting the spears fly. But that's pretty much it. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you guys did learn a lot or, you know, was helpful, please leave a like. Subscribe really goes a long way. Greatly do appreciate it. I will be going over the PvP version of this because, I guess we'll quickly just go over the PvP version. Just quickly give you the quick rundown. So for my PvP build, it's very similar. I'm just going for the breakpoints of 50 Strength, 40 Dex, and 60 Perception. Everything is basically the same, as you can tell, because this is just my attributes are different. Now for my skills, for my AoE, basically all I do is I just put Shadow Cloak here. For PvP, I just put Shadow Cloak right here. I do change those specializations around. I don't have it ready right now. I need to buy another character slot. But for my PvP build, this is how I run it. And specializations, we're going to be going all the way to Mad and Excitement. And then we're going to be going only to these two. We're only going to go into these two. Don't forget about this. Forget about this because my PvE one right now. And we're going to go all the way to Ranged Defense. We don't need Strong Will. Strong Will is kind of useless. And for our Spear, basically all we're going to be doing is all the way to Will of Annihilation. And then we are going to be going up to, I think it was, because this is 10, so I have 10 more points. Because I can go to Mastery 20 now. So I think I was going to go all the way to... for the Mastery, I still fully haven't decided how I'm going to run it. But more than likely, at least go through this one. I will update the PvP one when I get there a little bit more. Once I get more Mastery and kind of see the way it goes. And here are the passives. But alright, we're going to be going over the PvP one in a separate video because honestly it deserves its own video because it was kind of a lot to say about the Spear build. The Spear build itself requires a lot of micromanaging for PvE. Didn't want to inflate this video too much because it's already pushing over an hour. So hope you guys did enjoy the build video. If you did like it or enjoy it or did help you out a lot, please hit that subscribe and like button. It goes a long way. Greatly do appreciate it. Stick around to the PvP video like I said. But as always, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like the video if you liked it. Comment your thoughts, experience with the video. Also, anything I might have missed out. What video I should do next. Subscribe for more. But most importantly, stay Zerging.